Okay, so it seems like the gacha community is currently up in arms about one small thing, and obviously this is mainly to do with Wuthering Waves and also a couple of Hoyoverse games, and well, if you don't know, it's actually the start of the month, meaning that we get the monthly gacha revenue report. Now, this has actually changed hands since the last time I actually made a video on this. Now, obviously, I don't support this at all. I feel like, a lot of the information in here is probably false. They even admit that themselves, that, these are rough estimates and calculations, and I think a lot of people need to learn to just not take this information as seriously. But obviously that also provides a kind of opening to not take it seriously and just have a bit of fun with it. It doesn't mean that, you have to go in and completely ignore it or anything like that. It's a very prevalent part of the gacha community that, gets brought up every single month, regardless of how much you believe in it, regardless of how much you don't believe in it. But it is just kind of funny to go around and just kind of, make a couple bait posts or whatever about it and then just move on with your day. And it seems like, well, a lot of Hoyoverse fans are not happy at the fact that Wuthering Waves has been appeared as on top here. Now, obviously, we don't know if this is true or not because of these skewed things. Obviously, the numbers that they represent here are so close, with them being like, what, 1 mil, 2 mil apart from Wuthering Waves. So, due to some calculation issues or something like that, they could actually be on top. That's how close it is. So again, it really doesn't matter at the end of the day. And obviously, it does show Honkai Star Rail being at the top here of 102 million, which again is kind of crazy because obviously we've seen how predatory a lot of this stuff has been going on. But I made a post over on the Gacha Police, probably one of my favorite communities over on Twitter, and I made a quick meme. It just says EOS, by the way, and then I just threw in like a little Ryan Gosling edit of him being happy, And obviously, this was just meme. This is just memes. I'm gonna be honest. I didn't mean anything by it. I didn't mean to call out anybody. I just thought, you know what? This is gonna be kind of funny. I'm probably gonna get a couple people mad. That's about it. All I said was EOS, by the way, which again, I'm referring to Wuthering Waves, as, people said it was EOS when the game first started. And now, obviously, it's, seems to be doing good according to this data. And obviously, a lot of Hoyoverse fans as well, they do tend to bring out the gacha revenue chart quite a bit. And they say, hey, look at this, Genshin Impact's doing better, look at the revenue chart. But as soon as it doesn't fit whatever they're going for, they get mad and say, oh, I thought that's misinformation, I thought we weren't talking about that. Well, it's still possible to talk about, certain evidence that people like to use when, you don't personally use it yourself, but you could use it against them. And obviously, this is one of these cases, and I thought it was quite funny because, it's gonna bait a lot of people. Now, a lot of the replies, were very kind of supportive of Wuthering Waves and things like that. Now, we keep going to, you're comparing a main patch to 2 filler patches, being Zealous 1.7 patch and Genshin's 5.6 patch, and even wuwa only just pulled ahead. Not nearly as much of a flex as you think it is, even if wuwa is miles better than Genshin, which again, you can see the kind of levels of cope that is actually going on in the community at the moment, because this doesn't take into account anything to do with Zani's banner. Most of the revenue is actually coming from a Shorekeeper rerun. It's coming from a Shorekeeper rerun. Now, don't get me wrong, Shorekeeper is, a very, very important character who has been, kind of really wanted for a very long time, because people didn't know how she was when the game first came out, and now everybody knows that she's absolutely cracked. Well, everyone was just waiting for a rerun, and we finally got that point, and well, yeah, obviously it created the numbers that we're seeing on there today. Now, yeah, I think that's kind of funny that some people are trying to compare that. The person who even made the Gacha Revenue Monthly Report or whatever even confirmed the fact that it didn't include any of the Zani stuff, any of the anniversary stuff. It's going to be interesting to see what this is next month and how more I can actually rage bait this kind of stuff. There's also some other people as well saying wuwa's anniversary patch barely beating Genshin. Again, it doesn't actually include the anniversary patch, which I think a lot of people were very misinformed about. So again, get that information right. And they're saying wuwa, Genshin, and ZZZ EOS soon. Obviously, they're referring to Honkai Star Rail being on top. They say anniversary patch. Again, people are so bad about this because they're saying that, we're comparing a filler patch with an anniversary patch. It's not the anniversary patch. These people have literally got it wrong. And I feel like it's so funny to see some people getting so mad at this when I didn't even say anything, I didn't say, hey guys, look how bad Genshin is and look how bad Xenosaga Zero is. I never said that at all. All I said was EOS, by the way. I said, they're saying that Wuthering Waves are going to be EOS. And well, now they're in a position like this. I think that's great, Obviously, yeah, some people as well saying people are still looking at these numbers, man. I thought we left this stuff behind, which again is true. I do think that, we should leave a lot of this behind. But at the same time, it's just funny to bait people. Like, let's be real. You know, I'm not taking any of this kind of stuff seriously. That's why I haven't made a video going through the entire list and be like, I wonder why they made this. I wonder what event was going on. I just thought it was quite funny because, as I said, a lot of Hoyoverse fans do use a lot of this data like it's the gospel. So again, it's quite funny to use their own evidence now against them that they've been using for the past couple of months, and it's just funny to see them triggered, you know. And you know, say filler patch versus anniversary patch, that didn't stop you guys from comparing it before. Well, so why are all the excuses now? Which again is definitely true. So again, there's like a mix of people kind of defending it, some people getting mad, which is extremely funny. There was one really annoyed guy in my comments, which I thought was absolutely hilarious. Obviously, some people asking me where Honkai Star was, which again, you know, that wasn't part of my joke. You know, I'm just saying that, you know, people thought that Genshin Impact could never be outdone, everything like that. No one's talking about Honkai Star here. You know, I'm just talking about Genshin Impact, and, you know, due to the fact that they're both similar games as well, I thought it was quite interesting. And obviously, you know, we don't even know if it is higher up than that because we don't have the official information. But obviously, according to, you know, stuff that a lot of these Hoyoverse fans use, well, you know, it is doing better now, which again is kind of crazy. You know, we keep on going as well. People say like fight. This person here as well saying, why didn't you include HSR who diffed it so hard? They're saying stop with that EOS thing because after a few times it became cringe, you dumb incel. So apparently we're just using incel now to just like hurl out insults, which I think is quite funny. And obviously I replied to that saying someone's mad and ratioed them, which again was extremely funny. People in the comments as well, you know, saying blame for what? Genshin fans started it so they can get a taste of their own creation, which again is definitely true. And that's one of the main reasons why I made that post in the first place. You know, at the end of the day, it's just Twitter. You know, I didn't make a full video on it being like, hey guys, look, Wuthering Waves is gonna kill Genshin Impact. Although, to be fair, that's actually a kind of banger title for this video. Maybe I'll do that, but hey, you know, some people saying nowadays incel has lost its meaning. If you don't like someone, just call them an incel. They say I talk about people who follow a ton of NSFW accounts with Gacha or those who cry over fan accounts and cantarella camel toe got deleted, which again, I don't think I've done either of those. I don't actually follow that many NSFW accounts on here. If I did, I honestly probably will get banned over on Twitch because, you know, I pull up Twitter quite a bit. Obviously, we've got some other, you know, people saying Grok fact check, hose mad. You know, I think it's so funny that, you know, these people are actually getting genuinely mad at some fake data on a fake sheet. And I think that, you know, just from a small post like this where I didn't say much, has garnered 124,000 views and 2,000 likes and 136 stuff as well. They say get CCZ out of this bank, go argue Genshin instead. I'm not getting CCZ out there, you know, they're still there too. They say, how is it only the Gacha fans that make these weird comparisons like any player compares by the revenue of a company? Again, I don't care that much, but it's just a Twitter post. At the end of the day, you know, we got to remember, it's Twitter. No one cares about what goes on Twitter, apart from the fact that, hey, maybe my tweet got a few likes. That's about it. No one cares. You're not like looking for the most insightful opinion. And again, as I said, I barely even said anything and it got them so mad. They're saying, I thought these charts weren't reliable, so all of a sudden they're worth celebrating now. Which again, who said that I said they're reliable? I never said that in this post. Never said any of that, but again, these people just want to spin it like that, which I think is incredibly funny. They say, yeah, wasn't Sense Tower data reliable? I already replied to that pretty much. You know, it's just the same, you know, cookie cutter kind of responses that I'm seeing now. They say Genshin one of the most hated characters and 2 useless units in one patch, while Wuwa has 12 characters, having a rerun with the most broken supports in the recent update, which again, it doesn't include the anniversary, so I don't know what they're talking about there. Obviously, yeah, Shorekeeper is a broken support, but let's be real, you know, that's just how it works. And, you know, Genshin Impact clearly didn't put out good enough characters to make that kind of revenue. If that revenue is even true. Again, I have to keep explaining this, that, you know, this data isn't actually true, but this is the data that these people want to use, so I'll use it against them, because this is what they've been using for so many times. So yeah, they keep on going as well. You know, people are just keep on going and going and going and quote retweeting and replying, which honestly I just thought was a pretty fun day for me. It was quite nice because, you know, obviously as soon as you get like a ton of replies like this of people angry in your notifications, you just stop reading them. And it's kind of funny, you know, you just kind of look back, you kind of step back for a minute, see how just retarded everybody is over on Twitter, and just kind of in the comments in general, and it's just kind of funny, you know, once you take a step back from the Gacha revenue chart, you know, I'm not saying this is informational, factual, or whatever, but it's just one of these things where it's funny to look at because people get so mad over it. People get so mad about like, oh, it's not real, it's fake, it's stuff like this, or oh, my game did better than your game, that means it's better. It's like, no one's saying that any of these games are better, but all I'm saying is that, you know, a lot of these are an indicator of, you know, if a game is doing fine, you know, and if a game isn't just dying, which obviously isn't the case for any of these. All of these games are doing great, and I feel like, you know, with Wuthering Waves, they have a ton of PC kind of revenue as well, which comes out, which honestly, I just think is great for the game in general, and I'm just very happy that Wuthering Waves is doing good. But yeah, I just wanted to show you guys that because I thought it was kind of funny, and it was just a very fun time I had yesterday, just kind of going through all the people getting mad at me over a pretty simple tweet. So yeah, if you guys did enjoy this video, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe, and also let me know down in the comments what you guys think about this. Do you think that, you know, people have a right to be mad at this tweet? Honestly, I don't think it's the end of the world at all, but hey, maybe you guys think differently. Yeah, leave a like, subscribe, go to GameStop, use my code CASA, get 10% off, and I'll see you guys in the next one. That's all. See ya.